What's the deal, everybody? This is your boy Mack Malone, the KC journalist, and today we are at the Hotel President located at 1329 Baltimore Avenue. Now, on January 2nd, 1935, a young man checked into this room 1046 of the Hotel President in Kansas City. Now, he registered under the name Roland T. Owen. Right away, hotel staff noticed the odd behavior he displayed. A housekeeper went to give him towels and found him sitting in the dark. While she was there, she heard him talking to a man named Don on the phone. Artemis kept telling him that he wasn't hungry. So Don agreed to meet him at the hotel later on that day. Now, the housekeeper returned later to hear another man's voice in Artemis's room. When she knocked on the door, he told her they didn't need towels, which she found odd because she took all the towels earlier, so she knew he didn't have any. She respected the privacy and she left. 2 days later, the hotel operator noticed that the phone in room 1046 was off the hook. So they sent a bellboy up there to the room to check it out. But when the bellboy went inside, he discovered that there was blood all over the room, the walls, ceilings, everywhere, and the naked body of Roland T. Owen, which is what he was known by at this point. I mean, nobody knew his real name, so his blood was all over the floor. He was on the floor 2 feet in front of the door, with his hands and his knees and his head in his hands. And he had been restrained with cord and beaten, fracturing his skull. Roland had also been stabbed repeatedly in the chest. Bruises on his neck suggested that he was strangled. Now, his wrists were out and the attacker left him for dead. They removed everything from the room, including the free hotel soap and the toiletries. Now, in spite of all of this, he was still conscious. And when asked who did this to him, he replied, "Nobody. I fell against the bathtub." He then slipped into a coma while being transported to the Kansas City General Hospital, and he died later that night. Now, it was estimated that he was tortured approximately 6 or 7 hours before he was found. And he was beaten, he was stabbed somewhere between 4 o'clock in the morning and 5 o'clock in the morning. Now, you had guests in room 1048 who reported hearing a loud argument and loud disruptions all night coming from 1046. There was also another party going on at the end of the hall down there in 1055, I believe is what it was. Now, a female's voice was reported being heard inside the room as well, and bloody fingerprints on the phone were small, and they looked like female fingerprints. Now, every time a hotel staff member entered room 1046, it was dark, and the shades were drawn, and Roland appeared to be nervous. The same night, a motorist named Robert Lane reported picking up a young man dressed only in a t-shirt. Even though it was extremely cold a few blocks away from the hotel, there was a scratch on his left arm, and he was incoherently muttering something about killing someone. He said he was going to kill someone tomorrow before he was dropped off. Now, as it turns out, this man was Artemis, aka Roland. Since Roland couldn't be identified, his body was put on public display at a funeral home with hopes that somebody would recognize him. Now, while several other people did recognize him, Roland, knowing him from different various encounters with him, none of them actually knew his true identity. They only knew him as the aliases that he was telling people. Now, the hotel had closed for a couple years, and they renovated and they changed everything on the floors. So the actual room is right here. It's going to be this vending and ice machine room. They had taken it out because of all the attraction and the lure of the crime, but the actual room is still there. And when they renovated the building, now if you look in here, right there where that washer is, or that machine right there, I guess this ice machine is where the bed was. This was the actual room that he got killed in right here. And he was 2 feet in front of that door, naked and bloody when they opened the door. They have since made it into ice in a vending room. But this is where it was located, even though the structure of the inside and the numbers of the rooms have changed. But this right here is the room where Artemis Ogletree was killed. 1046. Oh, man, that's crazy. So the plans were made to bury Roland's body in an unmarked grave at a pauper's field. Now, when this news was published in a local newspaper, an anonymous woman called up there to say that someone was going to send money to pay for a proper funeral. When asked what happened to Roland, she simply replied, "He got into a jam." Now, an anonymous man then called the funeral home and said he would send money for the funeral. He said he specifically wanted him to be buried in a specific cemetery and also stated that he'll be near my sister. That's what the caller claimed. Now, Roland had screwed over a girl I guess he had planned to marry. This is what the story is. And the three of them met up at the hotel president. The caller said, usually cheaters get what they deserve. They get what's coming to them. This is what the anonymous man told when he hung up the phone, when he called the hotel. So $25 was sent to the funeral home to pay for Roland's funeral. Can you imagine back in the day, $25 pays for the funeral? It's crazy. I think the overall price was like $800, but still, that's crazy. A phone order for a bouquet of roses was sent to the funeral. $5 was then mailed to the florist. Also, there was a card which read, "Love Forever, Louise." But nobody showed up except the detectives working the case and law enforcement. Now, police had a big mess, but no solid leads other than the mystery man named Don. After the burial, undercover police officers posed as gravediggers, and they were watching the grave trying to see if someone showed up so that they could put a face to a suspect. Nobody ever showed up. And Artemis was buried before being identified and was buried in an unmarked grave for 2 years. And, fast forward to November 1936, a lady in Birmingham, Alabama read an article about the case and recognized Roland as their missing 17-year-old son, Artemis Ogletree. He was then identified by his mother with his scar and unmistakable bald spot on his head from the oil burn. Interesting enough, though, the months and possibly a year after his death, someone was writing letters to his mother posing as Artemis and leading her to believe that he was doing well. And his mother also received a phone call from a man calling himself Jordan. And Jordan told her that Artemis was living in Cairo and was married and wealthy, but would not be contacting her no more. And Artemis was buried, and people were interviewed and questioned, but ultimately the case went cold. Finally, 3 years later in 1937, a man named Joseph Ogden, who was from New York, he had been arrested and ultimately went to prison for shooting a man and stuffing his body into a trunk. Now, he was attempting to ship the body to Memphis, Tennessee. So, it was later discovered that Ogden had a bunch of different aliases. So, further investigations revealed him checking into a Kansas City hotel in October 1934 under the name Donald Kelso. So, the case went cold again and had slowly started being forgotten over time. That man with Artemis was known as Donald Kelso. Now, he did a handwriting analysis for the FBI, and the handwriting matched. The letter sent to Ogletree's mother, they matched. And despite all of that, no charges were ever filed. And this case has went cold and has been unsolved for 90 years. It's crazy. But it's a wild story, man. This is your boy Mack Malone, the KC journalist, signing out. We'll probably never see this solved. Peace.
He's live from the city lights. The KC journalist, telling stories in the night. Every page come to life. Truth that go through the mind. Hear the sirens, hear the pain.